Good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it is. Welcome back to the Angry Cook. Today, something a little different. We're going to be doing steak tartare. Once again, this is from my best friend, Alton Brown, who I don't even know. So, we're going to start out. Some people recommend top sirloin, some people recommend tenderloin. These are, I haven't a clue what I just bought them. These are loin strips, and we're going to take and process these. First things we're going to do is, we want all the meat, and absolutely the minimum amount of fat possible. Remember, this is a raw dish, and before you turn your noses up and say, ew, this is by far one of the best pieces of meat you're going to eat. Because it's one of the best pieces of meat you can buy. Because it's raw and not cooked with all kinds of seasonings, you have to have the best cut of meat you can buy. You can use filet mignon for this, which is perfect because it's almost fatless. But don't go with a cheap crap, because what you're going to get is a bunch of chewy, gristly crap in your mouth. And you'll say, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Well, yes, I do. Well, probably not, but there's people argue with that. So, we are breaking this bad boy down. After you buy it, throw it in the freezer for a little bit. Once again, frozen meat, or not frozen meat, but meat that's very cold is easier to work with than meat that is even refrigerator temperatures. So, Jade, by the way, she hasn't smelled me. Where is she? But she'll smell it eventually, and she'll be right here saying, gimme, gimme, gimme. So, very simple to prepare. The most time is probably sticking this in the freezer to go. We're going to end this. The nice thing about this and the various recipes that I've researched, this is kind of like a chef's, what do I have left over that's nice and fresh that I can stick in here. I'm adding a couple of ingredients that I've seen in other ones, like, these are gherkins, but they should be cornishons, which are the equivalent. They're French gherkin type things, although they're not cucumbers, but they taste virtually the same. So, we're doing that. And I didn't give an ingredient list, did I? We have baby gherkins, we have some parsley flake, we have sherry vinegar, we have white wine vinegar. What an idiot. We have capers, a couple of shallots, zest of a lemon, kosher salt. What an idiot. So, we're going to continue to break this down. You could use a food processor for this. Cut it in cubes and pulse 3 or 4 times. Because you still want a consistency of this. You don't want hamburger. Crying out loud. This isn't Arby's or wherever the hell serves hamburgers. What a burger! So, sounds like something from the Flintstones, doesn't it? About 1/8-inch slices, really thin, because we're going to reprocess this again. Those are probably smaller than an 1/8, they're probably more like a 16th or a 32nd, but who's counting? Ah, Jade just appeared. She's saying, what the hell are you doing processing steak without me? Right, Monster? And I've explained Monster before, so I'm not going to explain it again. Look back in the videos. Yes, my knife skills suck. No, I'm not a professional chef, so eat it. And once again, I've got camera staff, which is awesome. So there'll be no stove cam. We have music in the background. God knows what that's from. And I'm going to break down this one piece a little bit more before we do a cut, so I can break the other one down, just so you see what's going on here. And we're going to put these all together in straight little lines, little soldiers that they are. If you've ever seen the original Iron Chef, Japanese Iron Chef with Masaharu Morimoto, he takes 2 knives and he goes like this to chop stuff up. I couldn't do that. I'd probably cut my arm off. Little pieces again. Always across the grain. It makes steak more tender than rather chewing long grains of meat. Just remember that little tidbit. There's probably an exception somewhere along the line. I can't remember it if I ever heard it. So this is nice and tender too. This is awesome. And then we're just going to take and run the blade through it a couple of times just to get a little bit more. You don't want hamburger. You don't have the butcher or the people at the grocery store grind it for you. You don't want ground meat. You want pieces. So we have pieces of meat. And we're going to go and finish up the rest of this and bring it back in a couple of minutes. As you can see, we've chopped up about a pound of loin, nice and fine, not too fine, so some munchies. I'm going to throw this back in the freezer. This is, after all, a cold dish, and I want to make sure it stays that way. So I'm going to throw it in the freezer for the next 5 minutes or so, till it takes to finish this off. Just help a little bit. Alright, and we have various jade pieces hanging around. She did actually find me fine. We are going to make an emulsification. I gotta get a whisk. Hang on 1 second.
Jeff, next to the sink, next to the microwave. Microwave up, microwave up.
No help in the peanut gallery. Okay, we need, and as I said, we accidentally picked up white wine vinegar. Instead of taking it back, which we're going to take it back anyway, but we're going to use red wine vinegar, which should not alter the taste too awful much. A couple of teaspoons. Yeah, a couple of teaspoons. Just want to make sure of that. We don't want to butcher it up too much. We have half a teaspoon of, damn it, dry mustard. I thought I got everything out. Of course I didn't. Dry mustard, he said. And I just saw it. Ground mustard. Half a teaspoon of dry mustard. That's the way I measure most things, of course, as you've seen, unless I'm baking, in which case I really measure. And as I said, I'm using red wine vinegar instead of sherry vinegar since we don't have any. We're going to put a splash of sherry in just for taste. You don't have to do that. We have egg yolk, 2 egg yolks, and some capers, which I put in the wrong dish, which is still no big deal. 2 teaspoons of capers, 6 tablespoons, this is a whole shallot, that's close enough for me. And we're going to put in, you can either put in a cup of fresh, finely chopped parsley, or, if I said a cup, I mean a quarter cup. Or maybe a tablespoon of parsley. Remember, dried herbs are stronger than fresh herbs. So we have mustard, ground mustard, red wine vinegar, a couple of egg yolks, parsley, and the damn capers I put in the wrong fucking dish. So, hey, it wouldn't be a video for me if it was right. My name's not Emerald. I don't have a big staff behind me with cue cards. Of course, to have cue cards, you got to be able to read. Nobody ever accused me of that. And Jade is looking at that saying, mine. So, let's start the whisk on that. Now, here comes the good part. We're going to emulsify this with half a cup of olive oil that we're trying not to spill all over the place. So you're going to drizzle the olive oil in while whisking. The object is to get this mixed nicely, and you're not going to do it by being a wuss on this because they don't like to mix. So you want to make them mix. The egg yolk acts as a binding agent for the rest of this, so this is kind of an important part. This is the only recipe that I've seen that uses an egg yolk in the tartare. Most of them you have a raw egg yolk on top of the tartare, but I think this looks better. And a lot of people are going to go, it's bad enough they're going to go ooh with raw meat, but they're going to go really ooh with a raw egg yolk. So, we got that. Got that nicely done. We're going to add our capers to it. No, we're not going to add capers, you moron. We're going to add the shallots. Just bear with me. Add the shallots, mix. Make sure you have a nice emulsification. That means things don't separate. See how nice that is? Oh, and we want to put in a teaspoon of salt. Kosher salt, of course.
Did you already add your sherry?
Sherry, which is right in front of me. I swear. We're going to glug. It's probably an ounce, maybe 2, maybe 7 if you like sherry a lot. We're going to put a teaspoon of lemon zest on top of the finished product. So we're going to get our meat out. Don't take that literally. Nice chilled meat.
Of course, waiting.
And Jade is just staring at me at the doorway. She's saying, meat? Again? We have more? Right, Marjorie? We're going to want to be really easy with this. We're going to hand mix this mess. We're back to making dough again, kind of. In the disgusting yuckiness of it, but you don't want to. You want to get that piece off, which won't come up. We want to give Jade a piece, of course. So we're going to gently mix this around. Remember what I said about handling meat? You don't want to handle meat more than you have to. Otherwise, you stand the chance of it getting tough. And especially this, since we went to so much expense to get a really good cut of meat. Don't mess with it. Just until we get the gooiness off the bottom. Capers, Jesus God. The shallots in there. Shallots are really great. If you don't know what the difference between a shallot and an onion are, shallots are much milder in taste. Some recipes call for you to saute the shallots slightly. I think it's a cold dish, and everything should be cold and fresh, and not processed in any way by cooking. So, we're going to do presentation in a minute, and have you back. So we're back for the final preparation and plating. As befits the rest of this video, I forgot to put on the cornishon. Now, of course, you're not going to find cornishon here, so sweet gherkin, baby gherkin pickles will do the same thing. What you want is that kind of sweet, tart, little crispy bite to them. So we're just going to add that bad boy in there. We're going to divide this into 4 pieces. The other great part about this is you're getting a 1/4 pound of burger without losing the fat. And if you have it, you can use a 3.5 inch pastry round to form these. These are going to be freehand. Not free bird, freehand. And I think that looks awesome. Garnished at the top, little lemon zest. Remember, only the yellow of the lemon zest, not the pith. With a TH, not with an S. You don't want that. So, this is it. Try it. When I'm done eating this, I may come back on and tell you how good it was. Or I may just let you suffer. Which is possible. But thanks for stopping by again. We'll see you next time. So, we're done. And if you don't make this, you're a fool. That was probably among the most tasty things, or the tastiest things that I've ever had in my life. The crunch of the cornishon, or the gherkins, and the crunch of the shallots, and just the absolute deliciousness of the beef, followed up with the lemon zest. Just add, everything was different. Every bite was different, and I promise you, you will not regret it. If you have light eaters, make a patty about half of that, about an eighth of a pound instead of a 1/4 pound. We had a little bit of leftover because the women couldn't eat the rest of it. I know they wanted to. My brother-in-law and I, however, destroyed it. We had ours with baguette, fresh baguettes, and that's how you scoop it up. And it's almost to the point where it's like I'll never eat anything else again. So give that one a shot. See ya.